The CW Twin Cities presents See What's Now, your entertainment news source.
Hey everybody, Jon Foss with CW Twin Cities, and this is an amazing interview because right now I'm talking with President of Focus Features Jim Burke and Executive Producer Bill Pohlad, and the film we are talking about is A Monster Calls, which is in theaters right now. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about the film.
A Monster Calls. It was a children's book that was quite popular. Patrick Ness took it on from a writer who actually came up with the idea and unfortunately passed away of cancer as well during that process. And he picked it up and developed the book and then ultimately wrote the script as well for us. And it came to us, me, when Juan Antonio Bayona jumped on board and wanted to direct it, and at least for me, that's when we got involved in it.
Well, speaking of that, the film looks amazing, and you guys are both from Minnesota, and you give us Minnesotans a lot of hope, and you're working together. Tell me about your relationship and just coming from Minnesota and what that means to you guys.
It means a lot for me coming from Minnesota, and I have, I'm going to embarrass you, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Bill and his taste and actually what Bill has done, the role he plays in the film business right now, because he is leaning into, fine artistic films when others would be directed in different directions. And so he is an important person in the movie business in 2017.
I'm sure there's a lot of pressure to appeal to the masses, but Focus Features and the work that you guys do in general seems to put the artistic value first. How do you make that important and make that the number one goal when there's probably a lot of pressure to only worry about the bottom line?
When I started engaging in Hollywood and the industry and all that, you start to realize that it's kind of who you know and who you get connected with. There's a lot of great people in the business and there's a lot of not so great people in the business, honestly. And if you get hooked up with the wrong people, you can really go in a bad direction. But it was curious that we managed to start kind of, meeting good people. And weirdly enough, Jim and I kind of met sideways in a different kind of context. Things he was doing and I was doing, and then we came back around when this came around. It was kind of weird how, but it kind of shows up, that thing about good people and good companies tend to hang together, and if they can kind of keep it going, they end up gravitating towards each other again, and that's what's happened here, which I think is great.
Movies are like camps. You go to a camp for the summer, you become best friends for people for that summer, then you go back and you go to school and you don't see them for a while. And then maybe you go to camp again, you see them again. So that's the nature of our business. But if I make a list of people who have taste that's I would consider good because it's like mine, then Bill is always one of the top people on that list. It's, as I said before, it's a very, very hard thing to make a movie, but it's an even harder thing to make a really great movie. And so, and I think both Bill and I, that's always our aspiration each time out. Let's make this great. Yeah.
So what's your guys' past working together, and how did you guys meet?
This is the first time we've actually worked together.
Okay.
We have met in, just sort of social, semi-business situations. I don't know when it was,
Quite well.
90s or something like that. And because we make the same sort of films, there's all these parties and award shows. And we were lucky enough to be nominated for them. And I was always pulling for Bill,
Yeah.
There's something about being from Minnesota, it never leaves you. And
that's why it's curious but not curious that we end up gravitating back towards each other, like in this project and others as well in the future, hopefully.
And it sounds like this film was a match made in heaven because from what I've heard Patrick Ness talking about the script when he was writing the script, is that he was looking for people that were going to make the film, that would keep the integrity of the film, and even though it might be emotionally hard for some people to take, he didn't want to soften it. And because you guys fit that criteria, it seems like this film was a match made in heaven. And do you feel like all of that did come from the book make it to the film?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Again, I think it is great. not to keep kind of bouncing off each other and kind of mutual admiration society, but it is good to be able to come together with good people and good companies so you can keep those standards up. And so like on this project to really do work on things like that, I'm wanting to be true to the book and true to the spirit of the story. And I guess both our companies and the others involved wanted that same thing, that had that standard, and wanted to stick to it.
All right, from what I've seen in the trailer, looks amazing.
Wait till you see the movie.
I can't wait to see it. I'm going to see
Yeah.
it tonight, so that's great. And let me just say, from a Minnesota resident, somebody that has a little bit of a film connection, it's an extreme honor to have you guys be from Minnesota and to represent us, and to have 2 Academy Award nominated filmmakers sitting here and being with us and coming back here. And so thank you. Best of luck with the film. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And Twin Cities, check out A Monster Calls in theaters right now.